I am now, bro. I am now. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Well, last week you was letting it populate a little bit. I thought you
Oh,
let it.
I didn't put my theme song on it yet.
Oh yeah, put that on there.
Now you want me to put it on there. We gonna go in. We gonna go in. All right,
Okay.
go ahead, man. Ain't just gonna populate wherever it is. Let's go ahead. Let's go. Let's go in.
Oh, okay. No theme music.
No theme music. I
Uh,
was ready.
we're old school. All right. What's up, Facebook family? We're back on again on Friday night. A little bit later than usual, but we're still gonna make it happen. Um, as always, when we discuss things, when we talk about things, um, do not believe anything that we tell you. Go and research it for yourself. Find the truth for yourself. Find the message for yourself. Come back. Let's discuss it. Let's build upon it. Um, the title of the show today: Can Blacks Be Jews? Since there are a lot of controversy issues that are with Nick Cannon and several others here of late. We're going to try to break some of this down, get to some of the truths, get some of the hidden things that were left out, kind of bring them to light. Um, with two parts of the three-headed monster. We should have the third head here shortly. Um, but let's kick it off. What's up, Big?
What's good? What's good, everybody? To our Facebook family, to our YouTube family. Um, this is the SB, Brother Brian, the Silverback. We're gonna come to y'all on. It's not controversial. It's controversial if your mindset ain't if you're not a enlightening knowledge. I could say that. If
All
you if you're a beginner in this seek of knowledge, it might be something that well, it'll ruffle your feathers, but it's some truth behind it, and that we're gonna see if we can bring everything to light. Um, Something that's been weighing on me, something I've been thinking about a lot, and the main thing, the reason what I wanted to do about it, because it comes with consequences. Because of you got to understand who controls the media. We see that basically, when the situation when I actually watched that Nick Cannon um, on Cannon class. I watched it and I was like, okay, you got Professor Griff on there. Okay, all right, Professor Griff is not one of them dudes that you play around with. So when I was listening to him, I was like, okay, I feel you. You hitting the right points. You hitting the right points. You hitting the right points. And then all of a sudden, Jerome, you there? Okay, you froze up. Jerome, hello? Or maybe it's me. But I'm gonna keep going anyway. Um, it was some of the stuff that he was saying. It wasn't saying anything wrong. It might have been the way he brought it, but at the same time, the knowledge that he was bringing was a little bit was some truth behind it. But actually it's some truth, and there's some hidden factors in it that makes it, you know, to a point that a lot of people kind of shade away from it. So
Right.
the fact that he was, and again, he was with a brother that actually that bring knowledge. Professor Griff is somebody that when he stepped to the plate, he steps to the plate. But it started even before that. It started with when Deshaun Jackson said he's quoting Hitler. A lot of people was offended because the minute you say Hitler, automatically you go to the Holocaust. Nobody thinks about the Holocaust that the indigenous people here in America has dealt with and still dealing with to today. You know, for some reason we are not that important. But that's a whole different ticket. That's a whole different story. So what just Deshaun Jackson was showing what Hitler was saying. And I mean, you see it today. And it is not, you know, and plus that's in one of Hitler's books that you're probably not going to find no more. That book right there is very hard to find now. It is. They just reprinted it, and I price tag on that price tag on that book was crazy.
Which book was it?
What is Semite? What is, you know, you keep hearing anti-Semitic, anti-Semitic. Let's break down the Semitic people.
Right.
Where the education system. I had talked to my brother Tut. Tut's currently at work right now, and he already. If I can bring back what he said earlier, you know, he was. Oh my God, he was bringing down some knowledge. You know, you make me want to share it, but if I share it, I have to share it to you in the audio form. But what you think about that situation? Because you have Deshaun Jackson started, then you have Steven Jackson who says something. You have Ice Cube that said, you know, had some words about it, and then you hear Nick Cannon doing on his podcast, which is a year old. Him and Professor Griff said something about it, and then also I listened to Professor Griff again, as he did talk about it on another channel, Black 363. What you think about that? Before we go into deep, you know, let's bring some light to it and bring some education behind it.
Right. What do I think about the situation of those guys discussing it and the reaction of it? Is that what you're talking about?
The whole thought of it, what he said, did you watch it? Or did you get a chance to listen to some of the stuff he's saying? Because I think the thing about it is he offended the Jewish people and then he offended the white people.
Right.
So you offended two.
You froze up, B. You froze up. I don't know if it's your connection or what happened. But like I said, if you're talking about the groups that he offended, of course, you're talking about the two groups that control the media. They not only control the media, they control his paycheck. That's why you see them abruptly end the discussion and apologize. B, you still there? Froze up for real. Hold on. I think you went out. You got to come back on. So the question was Nick Cannon and the discussion with Professor Griff. I didn't have an opportunity to listen to it in its entirety, but the things that were discussed that were inflammatory for people, I did listen to. Oh, you back on?
All right, we're back on, dude. My internet went out. Boy, they shoot fires at me today, but go ahead, man. My bad.
No, you good. I was just filling in the blanks or filling in the time space so we didn't have any dead air. Talking about when you brought out a good point when you're talking about the media and when you're talking about who pays his check. So, you know, he didn't want a disruption in his cash flow, so he did apologize. But
I got a problem with that too.
but that speaks to something larger. It speaks to we don't have our own media. We don't have our own vehicle that could pay at the same rate that he gets from the ones that, you know, decide what you say while you're saying it.
Facts. Oh man, I didn't even tag myself into this. This is crazy. That's what I didn't do.
Tag yourself. That's why I was free. You thought I was freezing up, but I was sharing.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah, you were good. I was listening to you. So So what direction do you want to go into? You want to go into what they said today, or do you want to go into the history of
Yeah, that's what they say today. All right, let me break it down. I actually got the Encyclopedia Britannica.
it? All right.
Semite, a member of a group speaking of any, wait a minute. Members of a people speaking of any of a group related language permissible to refer to the common language of Semitic language. The term is including is Arabic, Akkadian, Canaanite, Hebrews, some Ethiopians, which is deep, Armenians, tribes, Mesopotamia's west coast, and the Mediterranean. The what? It depends on what you split it on. Go ask mom. Why you ask me? The Arabian Peninsula, which is the Mediterranean Sea. And the horns of Africa have been proposed to as possible the site of prehistoric origins of Semitic speaking people, but no location has been definitely established. So let's see, by the 2500 BCE, speaking Semitic speaking people has become widely diverse without Western Asia and Phoenicians and becoming seafarers in Mesopotamia, the blending of civilization.
Pertaining.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And the civilizations of summer. The Hebrews settled with other Semitic speaking people in Palestine. Where does that say anything about Jewish people?
It doesn't. But
So,
you got to,
so
I
how you,
mean,
but no. But I mean, that's why I wanted to get the definition out and get
right,
a true understanding of it. It's because you took on it. It's kind of like a defensive word. Like, for instance, if we drop the N bomb, black people are going to be offended, but that's not really us. You see what I'm saying?
right, right,
So it was a term used that, and that we adapted it or we evolved it, turned it into a whole different meaning. But to be real with this, it's not what everybody think it is. So because you say something about it, it don't automatically mean the Jewish people. And then when it talks about the Jewish people, why is it that it only starts with the Holocaust? Like that's when they become into existence, or you know, you see what I'm saying? That's it. It comes there and it stop. You speaking about us, and automatically we're gonna throw in the Jewish Holocaust.
right. I think, I think a lot of it too. Like I said, you got to go back to the base of it. When you look at Semitic, first of all, it's an African-based language, right?
Boom.
So that's the first thing you got to look at, is that Semitic is an African-based language, and everything that builds up from there was built on an African foundation. Here's the crazy thing: when you talk about Semitic, really it's not a group of people. When you say Semitic, it's actually a language group of people. Kind of like when you say Spanish or Latino, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you say Latino, that's not one type of people. I mean, you have Cubans, you have Dominicans, you have Mexicans, you have, Guatemala. Yeah, I mean, you have all these different groups and types of people, but they all fit under Latino,
Facts.
Hispanic, you know. So that's just a language group. It's not really a people specifically. It's different. It's different variations and even region in Semitic. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why they don't want to get into the definition of it is because now you start to break down the history of the Semitic people. Whether you go back with the Phoenicians or the Canaanites or whatever language group that you want to go back to, you have to think that that area, what they call the Middle East, was North Africa at the time. It's
Still
been
is.
North.
No, it still is.
I mean, well, I'm saying for people, when you educate them, You know, they think that's the Middle East, but it's been North Africa forever. And I mean, it only became the Middle East in the 1930s. You know, so I mean, it's a lot of misuse of words that gets people confused.
And it's funny when people do it, and then the backlash. Because I mean, for him to say he wasn't apologizing, I'm like, okay, bro, you was on it. You was on your your soapbox. You spoke your words.
Right.
When he backed down and said he was misinformed, it's kind of like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You wasn't, dude. You spoke with you spoke with you know authority behind what you said. How all of a sudden you was misinformed? Because, but I mean, because it's a lot of things about this. You hear people say that we're the true Hebrews, the people or the indigenous people here in America, or you would not say that. You would say you hear that, but also you hear about the people that did come here from Africa on slave ships. Now it was some. It wasn't no 15 million. I mean, we talk about that all the time. The
Right.
indigenous people was the people that was enslaved in their own country. That's why
Right.
it's so hard for us to fight back to get our land.
Exactly.
But the ones that did come here on the slave ship are considered to be the Hebrews because if you go back to Deuteronomy, I keep forgetting Deuteronomy 8, something like that. I just running those, and it's describing things that the black, the melanated people was going to go through. Um, it's funny when when you talk about it in the Old Testament, it's Hebrews, but all of a sudden in the New Testament is Jews.
Right.
Hmm, what happened there? Because because now you have to understand it. I mean, it truths me. If your Bible literally tells you what really happened, especially when the Babylonians came into play. Now, if you, it's kind of like gentrification when you people leave and people come in and turn around and they change everything. Now, if you want to be honest with me, I mean, be honest, the Jewish people of today are constituents, or Kursites. They're from
Yeah.
northern. They're from
The
northern.
last.
They're not the true people, and that's what Hitler was saying. We say Hitler is a bad name, but we don't talk about the guy that did what he did in the Congos, or can't even talk about our current president because some of the shit that he be doing
King,
too.
King Leopold.
There
King
we go.
Leopold the third.
But he killed more. You know, he literally almost.
15 million Congo.
But the minute that Hitler was saying, because Hitler was saying, and I mean, actually, the one of the prince in the Time Life book, they actually has a prince that said that the black people that the Jews left, they was black, they come back white.
Yeah,
So
that was a 1939 issue. That was actually the second president of Egypt, Nasser, and they asked him, would there be peace in the Middle East? And what he said, there would never be peace in the Middle East because when the Jews left, they were black. He said, when they came back, they were white. He said, so there would never be peace in the Middle East because the Jews haven't returned.
and maybe we might do a segment on World War I and World War II. I mean, they might not want to hear us no more after we get to studying that because it's a lot deeper than what most people think. But
Definitely.
if you want to know how powerful this group of people are, they control all the media and they control all the money. Your federal bank, the IRS, is not federal. It's a central bank. Just because they call it the federal bank, disguises it as. All right, we'll get into that. We gonna. I don't think people are ready for that because if we break down the history of that, I just go ahead and tell you now, the United States is owned by a certain group of people. and it's not by the United States, and they stay in England. I want to let you know that America went bankrupt in the 1960s. No, 1950s.
No, actually,
Was
in
it
the
the
1920s.
Oh, my bad. Even deeper than that. And they got bought out by a certain group of people, and then and all shit went the hell off from there. So that's why every time we go to war, we have to go to war. We don't have an option. We have to go because we are the world police for a certain group of people. But let's get back into this whole. So basically, you saying anything about it has nothing to do with a group. That has a it has to do with a language or a
The
type
language group.
a language group. So basically, again, when we say people that speak Spanish, half the people in there that speak Spanish ain't never been to Spain. So it's actually a colonized type of rule that we deal with. So this is deep. And a lot of people need to get into your history book and start studying because no matter, I'm not, justifying basically what Hitler did was crazy, period. But at the same time, he killed a lot of blacks and Africans too. So, they don't want to hear about that part. Because, I mean, he was in South Africa. I'm sorry, he was in South Africa doing he kind of tested it out with South Africans before he actually did it to the Jewish people, some of the stuff that he did do.
Well, you can Google Shark Island. That's Shark Island, and it talks about. I mean, that's the information on what the Germans performed on the Africans prior to going back to Germany and performing it on those people.
And a lot of the things that the Germans did learn was actually taught by the slave owners here in America too. So they got a lot of their ideas rooted out of evil.
All
So,
right.
oh wait a minute, is that Tut? Yeah, that is Tut. Let me get Tut on because I know Tut. Tut. Let me see if I get Tut to talk about it again like he was earlier because he got a little bit deeper into the reason. Uh, I got you, Tut. There you go. There you go. Tut.
Wow.
Tut. I want you to reiterate what you were talking about earlier when we was talking about the whole Semitic, what we was talking about, the history of it, biblical history of it.
All right. All right. How's everybody doing today? Peace and love to everybody also too. Peace to y'all brothers, the utmost, most first foremost too. uh, to to put it in biblical terms, okay. Noah had 3 sons: Ham, Shem, Japheth. Ham means hot, and his sons were Cush, which means Ethiopia, Mizraim, which means Egypt, Put, which means Libya, So those were the descendants of Ham. You had descendants of Shem. Shem means world renowned or famous. Shem's descendants consist of the Ammonites, the Moabites, most of your Asiatic people. You had Japheth. Japheth means beautiful and spreading widely. And Japheth's descendants was like Tarsus, which is Spain, Jovan, which is France, things of that nature. Now, from the
Greek.
story of Noah, that's when they saying the world had flooded and only these descendants flooded the earth, you know what I'm saying, afterwards. But your Semitics or your Semites, they were basically your Sumerians initially. Your Sumerians, which means black-headed people. The Sumerians occupied your area, which is called the Fertile Crescent or Iran and Iraq. Now, they were invaded by a group of people called the Akkadians. Now, when the Sumerians were invaded, the Sumerians had a written language, but the Akkadians didn't. So in war, civilization wins. So the Akkadians won, Sumerians lost the war, and so the Akkadians took over, and when they took over the Sumerian language. And from this writing form, they were able to switch some resonance. When you start switching letters, you mess up the cosmic resonance or the resonation of these words, and so that's your semantics or Semites. Now, your Semites branched into what you call Hebrew or Jewish. You know what I mean? So your Jews claim their history through Semitic or Semitic ancestry. And the Jews owe their language to us who taught them. Now, your Semitic languages brought about Amharic, Arabic, those are all those terminologies. I mean, those words come from that language. And even the worship of Mithraism, the worship of El and Baal. That's why you have words, names like Michael or Joel, even in the Moorish science, from their understanding when they went back and civilized Europe during the Spanish Renaissance. And so now even the Moors now, they have El or Bay in their name at the beginning or ending. And this comes from when you read a word in Hebrew, each word letter has a calculation. And this is called gematria. You know what I'm saying? So when you write a word, it has a calculation. So like I said before, Abraham turned one of the letters and he messed up the cosmic resonation of it. So in this, the Semites, when they first took over, Akkadians first took over the Sumerians, they took the language and they made it into their own. And this is why Abraham threw Egypt under the bus, because he didn't want to show reverence to the real God who gave him his knowledge. You know what I mean? So even the Phoenician language is what's called Hebrew now. So the Jews, which there's no J in Hebrew, you have a Y. A Y is written as an F. It's Yah. You got H is written as an E. It's pronounced hey. So hey should always be at the end of your word. That's why even over here, when you get into Native American tongue, they speak HA on all their letters. So alito, because they wrote their words from right to left. Now, Indo-European languages, they write their languages from left to right. So that's why this gematria, you have to calculate it, and it should be a vibration of, what I'm saying, within this whole word. But the semantics of it, the Semites, they get upset when we know history, because it puts us at a same level, because that's how, we was tricked by not knowing our languages. You know what I mean?
That is important. That is important as hell. But go ahead.
Yes, yes. And that's definitely what the study of linguistics helps. Linguistics helps you to understand your languages. It helps you to understand phonetics. It helps you to understand pronunciations and your larynx and how to deliver speech correctly. So linguistics also helps you to understand languages and lands. And so this in your Bible is how they confused us a lot of times, because they would put, instead of putting a language, they would put a land. Or instead of putting a land, they would put a language. And it can often confuse you. So to even call someone Hebrew, that shows you the confusion right there, because Hebrew is a language. You know what I mean? It wasn't a certain people. You know what I mean? And so now you look at Yahuda or Yahudis, and this is where Jews get their terminology from. So Yah was the father of the Jews who taught them their Yiddish. But if you look at Spanish language or the Italian language, the J comes from them and is pronounced as hey. So you have a name like Alejandro, or you know what I'm saying? The J is pronounced as hey. So even the term, let's look at the word junior. The word junior is abbreviated as JR, right? So J is hey, R is Rosh, meaning like your head. So Heru, Heru was the meaning of the son. So it's father, son, grandson. You know what I mean? So our understanding was our fucking cosmic resonation. It was messed up by us not understanding our language. Did I go too deep right there, B?
No, fuck no. You didn't go too deep with me. I'm with you. Now it might be too deep for people that's listening. You might just, I mean, you just educate. That's all. Hey, that's what we do. We try to bring education and try to bring a certain amount of understanding to this because a lot of people are just taking it and they running with something that somebody else told them. Like for instance, the history that you know from K through 12, which is a bunch of BS. We 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 don't study. That's the problem with us not knowing, us not reading. Because a lot of us don't know how to read because they don't want you to read. They don't want you to learn how to read. Because if you start reading and start understanding, if you start loving to read and gaining knowledge, then anything they tell you be like, okay, all right, whatever. I'm not even listening to it because you know what the truth is. That's why this whole know thyself is so important to people to get back into reading books. Stop letting the TV tell you and teach you everything because you got to understand who controls the TV, who controls the media, who controls the movies, who controls the radio. If nobody really, think about everybody that they censor. They censored a lot of people that bring nothing but pure knowledge to you, especially that knowledge that just hits you right in the face. So for me to see this brother put the information out, and a week after that he retracted, I got a problem with you because you retracted it.
Hey, well, it goes to say, one, you have to sacrifice yourself for the truth. You know what I'm saying? I was born in it, I live in it, I'm gonna die in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody ain't gonna respect the truth, then they gonna suffer from their own iniquities. But
Facts.
if you speaking the truth, and you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't be worshiping this material world. You know what I mean? When you understand the truth and the value of yourself, you don't worship and value this material world. So by him recanting his statement just because of what he was losing, he ain't true to this no way. You know what I'm saying? His truth, he ain't true to this no way. You know what I mean?
Here comes
So,
that. Here comes that. No, but I mean, that's facts. That is pure facts.
Let me jump in there because when Tel was talking about linguists, people that study language, and when you think about etymology, the actual science of words,
right.
The science of language, it's interesting to me that people don't take into consideration the age of a certain word.
Right.
Just because you hear a word, you think that word has been around forever. Like when you hear Jew, when you hear Jewish, you think, oh, well, that was back 2,000 years ago with the Jewish people, but it wasn't. When you hear the word Hebrew, you say, oh, that was back 2,000 years ago, but it wasn't. Those people that spoke the Hebrew language was actually called Ibu. It wasn't even Hebrew.
Right.
So these words have been updated, manipulated, moved around to use by certain groups to control. So when you study language, you have to study time periods of when the language was actually used. You were talking about French, you were talking about Italian, you were talking about some Romanian. They all have the same base syntax language.
Right.
In that language, of course, it goes back to the Phoenicians. So, like I said, even European languages are not European. They're African-based languages.
Right. And that's what's called Indo-European.
Right.
From the Phoenicians, they went out, I think it was a Phoenician called Cadmus who went out into speak and teach them Greek. You know what I mean? So the phonetics of it, we don't understand the linguistics of a lot of stuff. And even in your Bible, the your Bible, the Phoenicians are listed as Canaanites. You know what I'm saying? And those are Phoenicians. You know, your Phoenicians were well versed in dyes of purple. They were shipbuilders. You know what I'm saying? They took
they were
unified
master
off the
sellers.
globe.
Yes. But I mean, it's
But we
interesting.
get taught like they evil people.
Yeah.
They
Well,
was even called purple people eaters.
this is what's interesting too, man. When you look at like language, right? We talk about Latin, right? And they say Latin's a dead language. But there's a reason why it's a dead language. Because the reason why nobody spoke it is because it wasn't a true language for the region of people that were speaking it. There was something that they were taking a language and they were using it because they had to trade with people. So when you trade with somebody, you use a language so you can barter.
Right.
It's interesting enough that when we'll call them Moors for lack of a better word, when the Moors came in 1711 into Europe, and they were actually enamored with the old Greek culture. So they resurrected the language. The language of Latin was actually put back together using Arabic.
Right. True indeed. True indeed.
So a lot of people just don't, because they don't study and because they don't look into it, they don't understand. And they just assume that what you was taught was correct. And that's why we're in the trouble that we're in now, Ted.
Yeah, true indeed. True indeed. Because like, you know, and just like in quote unquote Hebrew or Phoenician, it's called gematria, the calculation. So here in English, we have these same calculations, but they couldn't understand the vowels. Excuse me, they couldn't understand the vowels. And so that's why in modern Hebrew today, they got dots and different things to express the vowels. But when you truly understand the gematria and the calculations, the vowels, they come from pronouncing the word properly. So even in Italian or even English now, we still have these calculations like 1 is A, 2 is B, all the way to 26 is Z. You know what I'm saying? Where you had your phonetics of Phoenician language. Aleph was 1, Beit was 2, Gamel was 3, you know, so you go on from there all the way until this is where your terminology of the Alpha and Omega comes from. Because Alpha and Omega, A was the beginning and O was the ending. O represented a cycle of 10. So 10 started your first doubling system. So even like in our mathematics today, we also know that our caricatures, which we use in mathematics, are Arabic numerals. So in school, they teach us 0 and then 1. And this is to teach us, it's conditioning you to think that we came from nothingness, because 0 shows a cipher. A completion of something is nothingness. So we didn't come from nothingness, but they teach us 0, then 1. Now the 0 is important, because having a lack of a 0 limits your calculations. And this is why the Roman language is not valid no more, because they had no 0 in their writing. So it limited their calculations. So like 10 in Roman numerals is expressed as X. So when you go to do your addition and you can't carry this 0 and add the balance of negative and positive integers, you lose your calculations. You know what I mean? So that's why the Roman language ended up dying off. And so now we have this Indo-European language. Now we speak this English. It has a resonation, but even it is limited if you don't go back to the original phonetics of the Phoenician language. You know what I mean? So once you get these calculations and you get all the way up to 10, because it starts with 1 in numerals, then it goes to 10 after 9. 9 is the highest cosmic resonance of a number. That's why it's got a ring at the top, ringing down to below. You know what I'm saying? And this is a reflection of your mind being connected to the heavens. Now, a 6 has a ring at the bottom, and it points up. So if your ring and your thinking is of a lower state, then you're stuck on 6. And this is where the term of mark of the beast comes from. Because if someone's thinking is stuck on the material world and of this lustly stuff here, then you're stuck in that 6. So you have to get your mind right, becoming an ascended master, and get your halo. You know what I'm saying? That's what a reference to the halo represents. It's becoming into an elated state or a sublime state of intelligence. So you have that supreme nine, and you have the dominant intelligence. Then once you hit 9, then you complete a cipher. So you add 1 0, which means 10. And this shows an immaculate doubling system that exists throughout nature.
Man, this dude's swinging for the damn fist today.
also, when you go back and you study in Hebrew and that which what they call the Jewish language, if you will, you know, he alluded to it earlier that the caricatures or the symbols that they use for language were also had an empirical representation.
True indeed.
So you have to study numerology, you know, also while you're studying language. So you have to understand every word has a numerical weight to it. You know, he was alluding to when you vocally speak, the resonance of the word. Well, the resonance of the word has a vibration. So the vibration can be found through numerology. And so that's why when you speak words, you know, that's why they carry so much power. That's why it's allegory in the Bible, but it talks about the tongue being so powerful.
Right.
That's why it has so much power, is the resonance that comes from the frequency that you create.
True indeed.
But I won't get into the metaphysical. That's y'all.
Hey, but that goes into the consciousness of man, you know, and this is what the Philosopher's Stone, what many have been searching for ages. They've been trying to figure out the purification of man, and you know, it's hard to teach this. You have to study for fucking years to purify yourself and become into this consciousness, and that's where the terminology of Christ comes from, because it's a consciousness of purity. It's a consciousness. The Egyptians said it's light as a feather. You know what I mean? And this is where the term of walking on water comes from. That your conscious has, you know, you have a mind body or a light body. You know what I mean? So they take this consciousness or this Christ consciousness, and they put it into a physical aspect of a character, and they named it Jesus. So Jesus wasn't an actual physical person, it's a consciousness. And so from this consciousness, you enter into a light body or being a light being, you know what I mean? Which is the purity. And then, and even the terminology of white power comes from, you can study many spiritualities from Africa of having a consciousness in white light. You know, light is truth, you know what I mean? White is purity. And so we had the concept of white power, because having this knowledge, or most people also too, they get scared by, let's say, black magic. So when you hear black magic, you think about witchcraft, you think about it's a negative connotation on black magic, because they make us think negative about it, but black magic is only intelligence. And so from this intelligence, we look at it as witchcraft and things like that. For example, Vodun is the origin of quote unquote voodoo. Vodun was an original spirituality that came out of Africa. They had Baron Samedi and things like that of that nature. But we look at it voodoo now, the term that they call it, of putting pins in little baby, putting pins in little puppet, doing shit. But it originates from understanding the sciences of nature, of understanding which herbs heal, which things to eat to help you, because your food should be your medicine. So you know what to eat certain things, and it evolved into doctors giving medicines through pills. And so now these days, doctors only think about healing something through a pill. And so now we have to medical terminologies and medical anatomies better now to get away from these pills, because they give out pills that fuck up your body, and then and their diagnosis may not even be correct. So I mean, we have to go back to learning how to heal ourselves properly by different plants and things we eat. There's certain plants you can put on your body to heal sores or different stuff like that. So we had to get into that consciousness of understanding nature. That's why the Native Americans, that's why they were so keen to stuff, because they had reverence for nature. They showed reverence to Mother Earth. You know what I mean? And this is why the Egyptians had a downfall, because they worshiped the woman so much by understanding the beauty of a woman. I mean, got to love these women, you know what I'm saying? Just like they got to love us, you know what I'm saying?
It's interesting when you talk about witchcraft and black magic and the manipulation of it. For us, it was to run us away from our roots.
Right.
It was to keep us from healing ourselves.
Right.
It's interesting because last time I was in New Orleans, I went into one of those voodoo shops, right?
Yeah.
And so I was in there. I was asking about Verdun and the origin of this African magic or healing system. So they didn't want to talk to me, and so I asked them, could I film in there? They wouldn't let me film in there. Because if you look at it, a lot of people just don't look at what they've done with voodoo. It's actually a manipulation of the Catholic religion. And so, I mean, it's just, a lot of people don't understand that demons and bad spirits, all that comes from Catholics,
right.
Because they study demonology. Christians don't study demonology. They don't know. They don't have a clue.
They don't have a clue.
You'd be surprised. You will be surprised. You study that history.
They take it to a different point. How they say they're speaking in tongues. They don't know what the hell they be saying.
Right. I'm saying that's something specific to it's specific to Catholics. I mean, that's why they have so many saints. A saint for every different thing. A saint for every element. But it's still Christianity. It's just been manipulated.
Yeah, it's Protestant. It comes from the Protestant. Catholic is always Protestant. Christian, Catholic, and even Catholicism, they worship Lucifer. So Lucifer, you look at the terminology, it's the giver of light.
Right. Yeah.
So we look at Lucifer, and then they study Lucifer. He's Jesus. You know what I'm saying? He's the giver of light. So Jesus, I think in Catholicism, if I'm not mistaken, Jesus is the son of Lucifer. That's why he has the term Jesus. Us is a suffix showing reverence to Zeus.
Well, Todd, feeling it, man. I'm just listening, Todd. Keep that damn momentum rolling. No, but I mean, it's something that we need to talk about, and it's. I'm gonna tell y'all now. We named this the way we named it just to get people on, just because we won't get shut down. But if you study some, it depends on what mindset you're on and what path that you're on. They would say that we are the Hebrews. I'm gonna say I'm indigenous, and I'm gonna leave it as that.
I'm human.
I'm indigenous to this land, and that's why I'm leaving it as that. So, at one point in time, was I calling myself a Hebrew? Yeah, but did I do a lot of study behind it to understand it? No, because we're still searching for an identity as a people, and that's where our biggest problem is we searching for an identity to say this is who we are. So now, from now on, I'm saying I'm indigenous to this land. This is my land. This is my home. So we can, but for people to be offended, like I was saying before, the minute you say anything anti-Semitic, the first thing you talk about is the Holocaust. But nobody talk about the Holocaust here in America, because that's not important, because it's not dealing with the right melanated people. Anything they talk about, you just look at history. What do we study? Everything that's non-melanated or light melanated. Light as in not the light that we look at, but light as in very, 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 very minimal of melanated that's in them. Melanin is DNA. Basically, what it is take your ass outside and get some of this sunlight and start running from it. That's what will heal you because it's talking to your body. So, and I tell you one thing, yeah, I tell you another thing. Where do you think Jewish people go in the wintertime? They go down south. Why do they go down south? Because they get that sunlight. So they study us so much that they know what to do and what not to do. And we, lack of knowledge, don't know nothing because we stay in this concrete jungle and we still in it. We still in the persecution phase. Go ahead, Chuck.
Well, a lot of it is our minds is messed up. So we stuck in materialism. You know, we stuck in fucking partying, drinking, clothes. You know, like my man saying, "Baby boy, guns and butter." We steady stuck on butter, and we ain't even knowing about guns of accruing wealth. We don't know about the guns of investments and stuff. So we stuck on butter, and this butter is actually ignorance, because if you're looking for materialistic wealth, then you're not looking for the beauty of wealth, and the beauty of wealth is having this knowledge and this consciousness. So that's why even in your Bible it talks to you about a man who's rich has nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't have the science of the mind really, or the consciousness or the pureness of self. Because if one had pureness of himself and he had money, he would give it all away to help others who are less fortunate. And this
because
is why
it'll come back to you. Because it'll come back in you a big fold.
Right. And that's the universal law. If you give, it comes back to you sevenfold. But see, motherfuckers want to be stingy and keep shit to themselves, and you incriminating and hurting your own ancestry line, trying to be greedy, thinking you're gonna hog all this up and pack it up for your descendants and this and that. Yeah, you want to create futures for your descendants, but that's not the right way to do it, because even me myself, I know like a lot of experiences. If it wasn't for my father paving the way for me, hell, I wouldn't be alive to this day. You know what I mean? So we have to get away from worrying about monetary gain. It's all about a consciousness of intelligence, because mind over matter. So when you get this intelligence, you gotta know how to make money. So when you get intelligence, you learn how to make money. So most people's focus is on money and lustful things of the world, and that's how you get trapped. Just like the same way everybody say they want to go to church, ain't nobody reading the motherfucking Bible. You know what I'm saying? You can go talk about shit in the Bible. Somebody go to church every day, they can't even reply to you because they ain't never sat at home and read it. They just go to church and listen to somebody else talking about it, So
talking about it.
Right. It's even books in people's family that they go to their grandma's house. Their grandma got a book over there. Grandma ain't even reading the book no more because she got it from her mama or her grandma. Grandma ain't even reading the book no more. So you come over there, you look at different books, the Bible, Encyclopedia Britannica. People have all kind of books in their home. Motherfuckers don't read shit. they just for display.
No, I read these books. I put money in my books, so I have to.
We read, but I mean, the majority of people, they got books laying around. They don't even pick it up. Jadakiss said it best. You want to hide something from a nigga, put it in a book.
Yeah, everybody say that shit. But go ahead, Jerome.
Jadakiss started that.
Everybody say that.
Everybody say that.
I think I've said it.
But at the same time, though, people need to understand why they didn't want you to read. Why they didn't want you to learn how to read. Why is it that we're so good enough that we can learn how to read another person's language like that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's our intelligence. We are just that supreme being. We pick up and roll with anything. So people need to study your history.
Right. But I think it's more because the base syntax is African.
Right.
So it's already in your genetics to pick the language up.
Right.
You know, it's already in your genetic. You can speak Spanish fluently if you wanted to.
Right. You know what I'm
Or
saying?
French. Or yeah, I mean, you know, because the syntax of it, the shape of the words, the feel of the word, the resonance of the words,
Right.
you already have it in your DNA.
And the bad part about it is all you gotta do is be around people that speak Spanish all the time, and you pick it
Yeah,
up like it's nothing.
exactly.
Yeah. But
Exactly.
I think a lot, even with my studying, like I say, the first book I read was a dictionary. And like Jerome was speaking about etymology, it showed you the root of every word, you know what I mean? So when I would read words and I would know the origin of that word, I would go back and, you know, search the origin of it and see how it came to be. And that led me all the way back. Like my dad, you know, he would push me to read everything on Egypt. And so I learned hieroglyphics, you know, from studying and shit. And from hieroglyphics, I went on into the Phoenician language. And I learned the correlation between the Phoenician language and hieroglyphics. And that set me apart to where shit, anybody else's language you fuck with after that, I can tell you exactly how you changed it, what changed in it, where you mispronouncing that and everything. You know what I'm saying? So you have to go back. You have to go back to go to the origins of language. Like, you know, what's considered written is considered history. So when writing started, it's considered history. Anything that existed before writing, so like the people who started writing, the Egyptians or Canaanites, when they started writing, they wrote about history 3,000-4,000 years before them. You know what I mean? So when you were writing, it's called the time of history. Anything that existed before the time of history is listed as prehistory because there is no other writing to support what's being said. So when you look at the originators of language, it come out of fucking Africa. It come out of, you know what I'm saying, writing come out of Africa, you know, and went to the Phoenicians, and the Phoenicians took the shit all around the globe, even over here in America. You know, that's why there's a unified understanding of sun, moon, and star. You know what I mean? Of understanding the sun, the reverence from man, the moon, the reverence from woman and earth, and the stars, which is a 1 and 3 is one and the same. So man and sun are one and the same. So that star is just like a star is a dwarf. The sun is a dwarf star. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of time with why people get confused is like when you just said Africa to the Phoenicians, to North America, and we forget that we're not talking about different people. You're only talking about people that speak different languages, or not different languages. Let me rephrase: different dialects, right? Because when you talk about the part that we always leave out to is time. You know, we always leave the matter of time out. And, you know, that's why I said language is important just from the sense of when you were talking or when you were speaking a certain thing. When you talk about hieroglyphics, or you could talk about Sanskrit, or you could talk about cuneiform.
Right.
You know, you're talking about these different time periods of language and how it developed, right?
Right.
But language had developed prior to that. You're talking about when a certain region developed the language, and then it went forward. So I mean, you know, it's so much to it that we just, because of time and how we limit ourselves in time, the reason why they want to control your time is they don't want you to understand how far you go back.
Yeah, and that's one thing.
They say, well, written language in Egypt, you know, goes back 4,000 years. Well, prior to language being in Egypt, how far does it go back?
Right.
You know, you got places in Mali right now that has writings from over 200,000 years ago.
True indeed. And Mali was one of the ancient places that had libraries.
Right. That one of the first libraries. That's what the first university was on this earth.
And one of the richest and was rich in gold.
Right.
Resources.
You know, outside of the material things.
No, but I mean, but it was something that a lot of people, you came there for knowledge. You didn't
Right.
come there for, you didn't come for riches.
That's
You
what I'm
came for
saying.
great knowledge.
Mali or Timbuktu was actually the center of the earth.
True indeed.
You know, style come out of it, language come out of it, teaching come out of it. Everything came out of, and this is West Africa.
And this was your first university.
Listen to me. This was West Africa.
Right.
This
That's
was on
just
the
West
side,
Africa.
right? This was on the side that actually traveled to the Americas.
True
So,
indeed.
did it come from West Africa or did it come from the Americas?
That's a
Time.
good, that's a good question. Woo.
Time.
Hey,
Time
well,
is what we don't look into.
right, Jerome. That's
deep.
why you sent me on the loop, Jerome. When you say that they never taught us time. Hey, yo, I studied the sun, moon, and stars, but I couldn't pinpoint it through a chart. I think Clayton made me start diagramming stuff. I remember Clayton telling me something about he wanted to see a chart of proof or something. Okay, well, never test me, damn it. You know what I'm saying? So, charting the time, you know what I'm saying, and being able to chart time. This is why I think you've heard, everybody's heard the saying, time is money. So I never was understanding time until I started studying money. You know what I mean? And when you understand money, you start to focus on time frames a lot more. And like Jerome was speaking, different time frames, different civilizations were at the forefront at different times. So you have to be able to understand who was in charge at certain times and who was ruling and who and the ruler, just like let's say a hunter hunts a lion. Well, a lion, he don't kill the hunter kills the lion. So the fucking story of the hunter is what's living on. The lion can't tell his story. You know what I mean? So this is why even, you know, the terminology of a lion comes from the tribe of Judah, the tribe of the 12 tribes, the tribe of Yehuda. And that's really of, you know, when you go biblically and search it, that's your fucking black people, man. You know what I'm saying? He brushes his teeth, you know what I'm saying? His white teeth, you know? So you look at the time frame, and like Jerome was saying, you know, as a civilization, and as civilizations flourished, you know, it had to be certain period of time that this civilization lived on, and then when it drop off from war, like I said, in war, civilization wins. So if I got a civilization, I war with Brian take over, he gonna pick up something out of my culture and be able to live on through his. And so his culture is civilization.
Oh,
Jerome beats Brian. It's gonna be stuff Jerome learned from Brian, and in his civilization, that's gonna live on. You know what I mean?
That learned from your civilization.
Because you, and this is funny because it's, you know, I do use the Bible. I don't believe in everything the Bible. Bible is not my God because of the stories. But then now you understand why they told you when they, you know, when they told, God damn it, when they went into the ancient land and they were supposed to get rid of all the Kemites,
right?
they're supposed to wipe it all
Canaanites.
out because
Canaanites found their language.
When you're supposed to wipe everything out because you're supposed to start over.
Right.
The minute that you didn't, you end up adopting some of their ways of living. And that's what you're saying. You adopt people's way of living. We here in America have adopted a European way of living. So we allow them to control everything and every aspect that we do. So that's why when it goes back to watching this dude retract his statement, because he fell under the ruling of the people who rule the land. It's funny. You can't speak your truth like you want to. I mean,
you'll fight him. You see him be.
let me interject a little bit.
Go ahead.
Because I want to be clear, because I always mention time all the time. Time is not a thing. Time is not real. Time is just a measurement. You take point A, you take point B. The distance in between, the distance in between it is time, right? So when I say time, I'm just talking strictly from a measurement point of view. It's interesting when you talk about civilizations. What's up, guy?
I gotta go, man. Peace and love to y'all.
Peace. But but when you talk about civilizations, what you were talking about, building upon civilizations, you know, you said that European, what did you say? European lifestyle is what we
adopted. Yeah, we adopted a European lifestyle.
No, it's not even that. It's our lifestyle, but there's a European mindset that's over top of it. That's manipulating. Because these governments, these structures, these cities, these ways of building were already here and were already ours.
Say that again.
They were already here
because most people don't believe that shit.
Ours. You know, it was just this mindset that's been like a cloud, that's what witchcraft is. You know, what's been cast over our people to where we can't see the truth. You know, it's just amazing to me.
So to all y'all, that's why history is important. Chicago was already here. New York was already here. All these
Atlanta
cities
was already here.
Yes, all these wonderful cities that we keep looking at these structures. Go back and look at the date of these structures. Some of these structures was already constructed in the late 1600s, early 1700s, 1800s. But you don't see these structures there. We went there and we built that, but that's a whole different story. You notice that they don't build new structures because they losing money because colonization is starting to come to an end. But that's a whole different story. But I know, Jerome, you got to go to work in the morning, man. You know, I know we normally go deep into it, but we're just scratching the surface of this. Understand the truth. Understand what knowledge is really trying to tell us. This is the year 2020. 2020 is supposed to open your eyes and your mind. Open this right here. That thing right here, that third eye, it's that pineal gland that we don't use. Some of this, to some people, is starting to illuminate. Now, understanding that this whole coronavirus, and peace out to the people that's on the front line, but at the same time, understanding what is truly going on, because our whole world is getting shaken upside down, and understanding who are the ones that's been shaken out of these trees. It ain't us. So start reading, start using this again. Let this wheel start turning, because a lot of our wheels are just slowly going. Get that thing back to it, start spinning up speed, and watch what happens. Because what happens is you're supposed to start seeing a lot of things that you wasn't paying no attention to, because you had time to slow down and start looking at things. That's all this virus did, is to basically sit your ass down and start looking at things. That's basically what it's telling you to do. Pay attention to the things that's more important, and stop chasing the money. To chase the money will get you where you want to. Chase the knowledge, because the knowledge will get you, like I say, you chase knowledge, and knowledge will get you money. It will get you, it will find you access. You'll actually find out who your true you. Start learning, start getting in contact with that inner man, that subconscious. Is a lot bigger, and it's a lot deeper than what you think it is. But Nick Cannon, I got choice words for you, bro. Shouldn't apologize on that, man. You spoke truth, and you stand behind your truth. You see Professor Griff apologize. You don't see an Ice Cube apologizing, and this dude make movies that I actually watched Friday 1, 2, and 3 today. So understanding if you is stop looking at what the repercussions of, but start when you speak on truth. Don't look at it as I still have to protect me, because if you speak on truth, truth will protect you. And that's it. Facts.
Facts.
Did I say it right? I think I said it right. I'm sorry, y'all. My energy, I'm actually off on it today. I need to get back on it. I need to get back to my meditations. Actually, I had wonderful thing that happened is I actually got a new granddaughter.
Congratulations.
You know, the first, this grandbaby number 2, but this is Queen. Queen is mine. For some reason, she got handed over to me to bring that knowledge. So daddy, granddaddy got to keep studying. Daddy, I gotta, you know, gotta bring it. So, hey, I'm happy. It's happiness, but at the same time, doing this whole, it's kind of like I'm happy and I'm sad because the way the world is to today. But at the same time, if you got children that's being born, got to continue the cycle. We got to continue this fight. We got to continue this, this whole indigenous lives matter.
True.
That's my new slogan. Indigenous lives always matter because this is our country. Let's not worry about what the Jewish people care because their history is not true. They don't even go off the understand the books that they teach you off. It's the Tarmac, which has nothing to do with the Torah. That has nothing to do with the Bible. They own a whole different mindset. So if you didn't get a chance to watch that Canon class with Nick Cannon, it was powerful. I was in it. I was liking it. Um, I was already on that mindset anyway. So it wasn't like something shocking to me to hear. But at the same time, to a lot of people who on that lower state of self, to them, it probably blew their minds. Like, I can't not believe he said that.
Right.
But at the same time, he never said anything bad about Jewish people. Even when you go back and you listen to Farrakhan say he don't wish hatred upon Jewish people. That's why I got the Secret Lives of the Blacks and the Jews 1, 2, and 3 sitting in my library. I ain't got to it yet because I ordered too many books at one time. Sometimes I order 3 to 4 books at one time.
Right.
So I got those books because I heard that they was about to ban Farrakhan. So I'm trying to get all these, books from Elijah Muhammad just to, to understand what's the true nature of how things were back in the, the 40s, 50s, and the 60s, so up. So, because that's when the major struggle of this wrestle of trying to become who you want to be, to fight the power mode, you know, before we, inaugurated ourselves into this black white shit. Because I'm gonna go deep, and I'm trying my best to hold my tongue because I know I'm gonna go super into it. So, but get your last words out, man. Like I said, I know you say you can't be on longer. We was on longer than what you say you're gonna be in. So, appreciate you.
You know how we do. Now, like I said, the most important thing, like I said, is studying, understanding what it is that you're mad about. Do your research, understand what words really mean, understanding where the words actually come from, because they do have meaning. Sometimes they have double meanings, so you have to study, break it down slowly. You mentioned something about the virus slowing us down, giving us time to actually meditate, to actually read, and to actually break down some things. Take that time and do it, and get with like-minded people, form a community, build together. That's where I'm at.
That's what's up. So yeah, tell your brother, sister, come here. All 3 of y'all come here. All right, y'all. This is another 3-headed monster. Tut. Dude, appreciate you even taking the time out doing this whole work schedule.
No doubt.
That lets you know how serious that we are. And again, sorry we haven't been on, but we got to keep pushing. So again, check us out on Facebook under the 300 Monster Podcast. Check out our symbol, our Anubius. And if, you know, because it's hard to find us, but if you need help to find us where it's at, contact me or Jerome, and we'll send you the link so you can catch on our podcast. I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been lazy on our podcast, not the one on YouTube, but the one that's on our podcast on the Podbeam. So this weekend I will be pushing up some episodes. So peace out, y'all. Thank you.
Congratulations, B.
Thank you. Peace out. It's a three-headed monster.
Peace.